side. Now along comes a technological breakthrough, a new machine. And the new machine is so effective, you can get the same number of units of output with half the workers. So you don't need to spend 100 on workers. You only need to spend 50. You can do it with half the workers. And so the capitalist goes to the workers. By the way, this happens every day. And he says to half of them, you're fired. Don't come back Monday morning. I don't need you. It's nothing personal. It's just, I got a machine. Why does he do that? Because the 50 he now no longer has to spend on labor, because he doesn't need half of them, he keeps. Everything else is the same. The machine, everything else is this, just to make the math easy. So he keeps as his own profit the 50 that before he paid for those workers.
Yeah.
Right? Because when he sells it for $220, that 50 he doesn't have to give to the next job because he has a new machine. So that's what he does. The technology leads. He's happy. He's become more profitable. He's got an extra 50, which is why he buys the machine. The workers are screwed. Half of them just lost their job, have to go home to their husband and wife, tell them I don't have a job anymore. I didn't do anything wrong. The guy was nice enough to say there was nothing wrong with me, but he doesn't need it. So I'm completely screwed here. I don't know what I'm going to do about the debts we have, the house on mortgage, my children's education, or whatever else he's got going for himself. All right, now the point. There was, of course, an alternative path. The alternative path would have been to keep all the workers, pay them exactly the same that you did before for half a day's work. You would have got the same output, same revenue, same profit as before. But the gain of the technology would have been a half a day of freedom every day of the lives of these workers. The majority of workers would have been really helped by this technology. But instead they were screwed so that one guy, the employer, could make a big bundle of more money. You want to support a system like this?
Well, to go back to Hegel,
yes,
the good and the bad.
Yes.
So you just listed the bad, and you also first listed the good, the technological innovation of this kind of system. The question is the alternative, whatever, as we try to sneak up to ideas of what the alternative might look like,
right?
What are the good and the bad of the alternative? So you just kind of, as a opposite, by contrast, showed that, well, a nice alternative is you work less, get paid the same, you have more leisure time,
right?
Opportunity to pursue other interests, the creative interests,
right.
Family,
right?
Flourish as a human being, basically strengthen and embolden the basic humanity that's
right.
under all of us. Yes, but then what cost does that have on the deadline-fueled, competition-fueled machine of technological innovation that is the positive side of capitalism?
Slows it down.
It slows it down. And the question is, which is more important for the flourishing of humanity?
I agree with that. And I'd love there to be a democratic mechanism. So let's discuss it. Let's debate it. And then let's decide what mixture, because it's not either or. Mm-hmm. The math problem I gave you is either or. We could mix it. You could have a third less of a working day instead of a half less, and then the other part would be extra profit for our employer, et cetera, et cetera. So let's have a democratic discussion of what is the mix between the positive and we have no such thing. Yeah. All of this is decided by one side in this debate, which not only we know what they do, they always choose the one that maximizes their profit because that's what they were told to do in business school where I've taught, right? So not only is it an undemocratic decision, but it's lopsided to boot. So we don't have the opportunity. But I would love for us to be good Hegelian Marxists and say, let's take a look at the plus and the minus and make the best decision that we can. We'll make mistakes. but we'll all make them together. It won't be one of us making a dictatorial decision. You know, Marx developed the notion of the dictatorship of the proletariat, not as a notion of how government not Marx, Lenin did that. Not as a notion of how a government works, but as a notion of what the practical reality is. The dictatorship in these key decisions is not made by some sitting council. It's made by each little capitalist in her relationships with the workers in the workplace, which is why Marx focused his analysis on that point. And by the way, I can sketch for you right now so it doesn't lurk in the background what the alternative is.
Yeah, let's go there.
Okay. It goes right back to what I said earlier. The workers themselves, the collection of employees together, appropriate their own surplus and decide democratically what to do with it, which includes the decision of whether or not to buy a machine and whether or not to use the machine and the savings it might allow to be handled by more leisure for themselves or as a fund for new developments in technology or new products or whatever they want. And, you know, this is an old idea in human. Marx loved that. Toward the end of his life, he started reading extensively in anthropology. And one of the reasons he did that toward the end of his life was because he kept discovering that in this society and that, including here in the United States, that there were examples of people who organized their production in precisely this way, as a collective, democratic community in which everybody had an equal voice. So we all together decide democratically what to produce, how to produce, where to produce, and what to do with the output we all help to produce. So let's do it in this country where democracy is a value nearly everybody subscribes to. Think about it this way, the stunning contradiction that there is a place in our society where democracy has never been allowed to enter, the workplace. In the workplace, a tiny group of people, unaccountable to the rest of us, the employer, whether that's an individual, a family, a partnership, or a corporate board of directors, tiny group of people controls economically a vast mass of employees. Those employees don't elect those people, have nothing. There is no accountability. It is the most undemocratic arrangement imaginable. And this society insists on calling itself democratic when it has organized the minor matter of producing everything in a way that is it's autocratic.